following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Sounds 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick and Michael Sindrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hey, this is George Plaster. As you could probably tell yesterday, I'm a little bit under the weather. And rather than have you all watching a Major League Snot Fest on the air, we've decided today to do a best of interviews from the first 3 weeks of the show. I'll also tell you that the Plaster bet of the day tonight is the Houston Astros minus 140 at home against the Seattle Mariners. Last night, I lost in the ninth inning with the Boston Red Sox. I am very bitter with their pitching staff. My pathetic record is now 4-8. No wonder I'm under the weather.
Watson, the floor is yours. Mac, we got about 10 minutes, I think, left here, and I want to go back when I can to the portal. But first, with all of that's going on, that's so new for us, and all this league stuff, and I've felt for a while, Mac, it is about the dollars. You hinted to that just a little bit ago on paying your players and having the money to be able to do this, and when we've watched Oklahoma and Texas, and both of us have been at both of those, I was at Oklahoma, you were at Oklahoma and Texas. We understand the history involved in those two schools, and to the old Southwest Conference, that when you were at Oklahoma and I was in it at Rice, and then the Big 12 where you went against Oklahoma every year, and usually the winner gets a shot at playing for the national championship, and then to jump to the SEC and to leave everybody like that. And then to turn around and watch UCLA and Southern Cal do the same thing. All the talk now about 3 or 4 of you guys, you're one of them in the ACC. It's all about dollars. That scares me. I understand. There's a big difference, Mac, in 60 million and 105 million. I get that. Where are we headed, Mac? When is it going to stop? And what do you think is best? Not to put you on the spot, not to try to get personal with North Carolina, but what do you think's best for college football, and where are we going to stop this train?
Well, I sat there and watched Texas and Texas Tech and Oklahoma State get really, really close to going to the Pac-12. I mean, it was down to the last day. I thought we were going. We'd set up recruiting areas, and we talked about how our Olympic sports would be able to travel back and forth, and you might not want to play at Washington and Washington State on the same year. You'd have to play one at home and one out there. And then ESPN came in and started a Longhorn Network for $200 million, and we all stayed. And then I saw A&M and Missouri just get up and leave right after that, and Colorado and Nebraska had left, and then you start looking at holding your league together. And I think the numbers would be similar to 31 million here as compared to 95 or 105 that they're talking about with the upgrades or the renegotiations of the TV contracts over the next couple of years in the Big Ten and the SEC. So I don't know, Watson. I've tried to really stay out of it. I do know what because I was very involved at Texas, and then we worried about it, and we thought about it, and we had all these different scenarios, and then one day nothing changed. We just went back to the Big 12 and played the same team. So I do know we've got to coach our team hard and get ready to play, because I know who we're going to play on August 27th. And that's the most important thing to me. The other thing that I would share with our administration is it's not my opinion to stay, whether we go north, whether we go south, whether we've got options. All I want is what's best for our players and our staff. That's it. And I don't care where we go. I do want to be able to pay our coaches and our staff members as much as we can. And I do want our players to get every benefit that every top football program in America gets. And that's really it to me. That's whether you stay or go, it's I'm not going to be asked, but even if I was, I wouldn't know what would be best. And there are there's so many rumors out there. It's just like NIL. Are these kids making all the money they say they are? Some of them aren't. I had a guy sit in my office and say, Coach, I've been offered $350,000, and he was a recruit, and I thought he was an okay player. And he said, I've been offered $350,000 to take it. And I held up my phone and I said, let's call them now, man. You ought to take it. You need to get it before you get out of this office, because I'd hold them to that if they offered you that much. So I'm not sure where things are going. I'm not sure what it's going to look like in 5 years or 10 years. But I do feel like we can't lose sight. People are getting frustrated with realignment. They're getting frustrated with NIL. They're frustrated with the transfer portal. I think we've got to make sure that we keep the most important thing in front of us, and that's the players. And if we can make sure that they've got good mental health, because I'm worried about mental health with all these extra burdens on them. There's more mental health issues than I've ever seen before. So let's take care of the players, and then the rest of it takes care of itself. Everybody going to be playing somebody. And the only difference is in certain leagues, some people are going to be making more money than others. But if you're playing somebody that's making all the same money you are, it's going to work out anyway. So I've really gotten to a point that I'm like everybody else. I've just got a little enough information to be dangerous, and don't know what's going to happen. Don't know when it's going to happen. Don't know if it's going to happen. But I know who we play in the opener, Watson, and we weren't very good last year. So I'm totally focused on trying to get us ready to play that opener.
I believe me, and I don't miss that feeling.
No, no.
You can have it, brother.
Yeah,
you can have it. Now, I will say I miss the excitement of the preparation, but the thoughts of course, I opened with Alabama my first game at Vanderbilt. That wouldn't have been one I would have picked to open with. But
no,
Mac,
but Watson, let me make one point before we go on. I know we're short on time here, but most of your guys at Vanderbilt wouldn't have asked for money. They came to be at Vanderbilt.
Yeah. They
came because of you, your relationship. They came to get a great education, and that's who we are. That's what we're dealing with. So that's why I think we've got to be careful and not let what's happening with a few change our view of a wonderful sport and these great kids that are playing this sport, and let it get out of hand.
Mac, we both have worked a little bit with ESPN, and they seem to be controlling the deal here with the contracts all coming up. Are they trying to get, do you think, just an opinion, are they trying to get it within two leagues and put all the money in that and put very little then in what's left in the Power Fives? Do you think that's what they're up to? Or you like me, you're really not sure?
I'm really not sure. I think it was the president or chancellor at LSU, maybe 2011, said at some point there will be two leagues, Fox and ESPN.
Yeah,
and we're kind of headed
in
that direction.
Yep.
I do know that you and I loved our time with ESPN, and they were great to us, but they're business people.
Yep.
And that's their job. And their job is to get as many eyeballs on TV games on during the week, college football games, as they can possibly get. So when people say, well, they're doing this or they're doing that, no, they're doing their job. They're trying to get as many attractive games as possible. And that's why even in our league for next year, Watson, we're throwing out the two divisions so we can match better teams up to get better games for TV. I mean, so it's all around us. And everybody is trying to be marketable enough to have somebody want to pay you more. And then you've got more money that you can spend. One of the worst things right now that's happening, athletics directors' jobs are tougher than they were with all this stuff going on, obviously. But another thing's happening is we're calling boosters and saying, help us raise some money to pay our coaches more. Help us with facilities. Oh, you got to buy season tickets. Well, you've been donating this to our Rams club every year, so you got to do that. Oh, by the way, I need another check for NIL. So we're beating our boosters down so much, they're getting tired. I call them now and they say, how much you want? They don't say hello. And that makes it tougher too. And they're right.
About a minute. Where are you with the transfer portal?
I'm okay.
Scares me. Are you okay with it?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Joe Burrow would have been a high school coach in Ohio and a third-team quarterback. That hadn't happened. So I always thought it was good for the backups. If they weren't happy, get your degree at your place, then go play a couple of years. I don't like people being able to tamper and buy people off your campus. That's not what it was for. And I don't like kids quitting in the middle of the season, Watson. So I think you're going to see guidelines that it's going to be 5 days after their last game before they can enter the portal. I had a guy leave last year at midseason. He walked in, his about 7th game or something, a little after midseason. I said, where are you going? He said, I'm not playing very much, and I'm tired, and we're practicing this morning. I'm just not going to practice. I'll get in the transfer portal, and that way everybody will know I'm there. They'll hold a scholarship for me, and I can go visit some places. So I think you're going to see that stop. And I think you're going to see it much more difficult to transfer within your league, because that's not good either. You're talking to your buddies across town, your rival, and 3 guys want to transfer. I mean, they don't like you anyway. So you don't need to add that to it. But I think we can get the transfer portal where it's more reasonable and manageable. The NIL needs to be the one that we pull back in. And there'll be less traction with the transfer portal when we get NIL straightened out. And the last thing, guys, and I'll get off because I know it's quick here. The other thing is 40% of the kids that I think didn't find a place to go that got into the portal. 40% of the kids jumped in and don't have a scholarship. So we're going to see that number, Watson and George, really cut back every year when they realize it's not always better out there. And some of those people that say, hey, Watson, transfer, man, I got something for you. Well, we filled up. Sorry. So they're going to find out that's not the easiest route to go.
I could listen to you all do this all day, but in all seriousness, thank you so much for being our first guest. This has been terrific.
Well, y'all have got a great show, and it's going to be fun for everybody to listen. And like I said, you can start putting some sense into this craziness. But let's all remember we've got a great game. These are wonderful kids and a lot of great coaches out there. And let's don't get down on our sport. Let's don't get angry and miserable over a few things that we've just got to get fixed. And sometimes it's easier to fix it when it gets awful. And right now we got a mess, and it's a great opportunity for us to figure out a way to fix it.
Amen. Mac, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Brought to you by Middle Tennessee Bone and Joint. Combined state-of-the-art orthopedic service with a family atmosphere. Whether it's a sports injury, a sprained ankle, or a major joint replacement, Middle Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic has the staff, training, and equipment needed to take care of any patient in any circumstance. Their mission is to provide high-quality, specialized orthopedic care in a compassionate manner to the people of Columbia and Middle Tennessee. Visit mtbj.net.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty.
At Sumner Funeral and Cremation, our mission is to serve families as our own, celebrate the life of their loved one, and help begin the healing process.
My whole family, including my wife and my mom and siblings, were very happy with the treatment that we received. I would highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation.
We offer funeral, burial, cremations, and pre-planning services.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor-trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor-trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor-trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
We are back on this Monday afternoon, and thanks for being with us. We are joined in studio by MTSU Athletic Director Chris Massaro. How are you?
I'm doing great, George.
How was the green room?
The green room was fantastic. I've been in a lot of green rooms in my life, but the shrimp cocktails and the food and the booze and stuff was some of the best I've ever been around.
That's beautiful. And of course, you know Watson.
I do. Hey, Watson.
As well.
How's it going, Coach?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
So the obvious place to start is this. Every piece of news that's out there is about what's going to be done for the Power Fives, those 50 some odd schools that all, seem to be holding the upper hand to everything. I never hear anybody bring up the MTSUs or the Memphises who are fighting for their place in this pie. How discouraging is this for you?
Oh, I think there's an inevitability about it. So I don't know if it's discouraging. I mean, in some ways, it's kind of fascinating just to watch. And I've told my colleagues in the Power 5 leagues to be careful. Just because you're in a Power 5 league doesn't make you a Power 5 school. And I think some of them now are staring at that reality that, you know what, that this little empire that was built by other brands, we might be diminished. So I think there's a little bit of panic there. Whenever there's movement at the top, that it filters down to the group of five, and it impacted us quite a bit a year ago. And I would think the chances of that happening again in the next year are strong as well.
The first of a lot of dumb questions here. Do you see anybody that's in the Power 5 that's worried about y'all?
Oh, no. One of my complaints or one of the degree of sadness that I have kind of towards the end of my career is that there's nobody that's a steward of the game. There's nobody looking out for the game itself. And I worry about that. And, when I hear, well, we just got to do what's best for the school, or we just got to do what's best for the conference. And there's not this collective good that we need to keep in mind. I worry a little bit if there's this great contraction of leagues, then maybe it'll be more regionalized. And if you lose the West Coast and you lose the East Coast, then college football is not going to be as popular nationally. I think one of the strengths of college football is that there's a game basically played on almost every street corner from Division III all the way up to Ohio State and some of the big boys. And what I worry about is if it gets too expensive to play college football, or football gets marginalized to where it's only played at a handful of schools in the next few decades, then the opportunities for football are going to be really diminished. And that would be sad. And I think in the long run, that'll cost people money too. Right now, the only thing that seems to be the driver is who's got the biggest television contract. And we need to have more values in our decision making. There's a lot more to higher ed than the TV contract.
Watson, butt in here, because obviously you've got a lot of opinions about where we're going. So feel free to chime in here.
Well, I'll hit on just what he just brought up, Chris, till we get away from all decisions now are made off of the dollar. I don't know where we're going to go, because that wasn't the way it used to be. Honestly, the dollar's always mattered, but even 20 years ago, Chris, it wasn't this. And back when I was at UAB as an AD, as you are, the dollar mattered. There's no doubt. We had to figure out how to make budgets meet just like you still do today. But every decision wasn't made off of, can we make another million? Can we make another $500,000 by doing this and sacrifice everything? I mean, of course, football's the driving piece, Chris, but what about baseball? What about track? What about golf? I mean, and so, well, the heck with that. We don't care if they got to travel 8 million miles or whatever. We got to make the most money that we can make. And I don't see an end to this, Chris. If these TV packages keep going up and up and up, how do you turn it down? I mean, there's a buying point for everybody. And when it gets up there like it did for UCLA and Southern Cal, that's a lot more money than they were bringing in. So I can't blame them. But when's it going to stop?
Well, I don't think it will stop. I mean, that I keep waiting for these market corrections. And you mentioned UCLA, Coach, and I just can't help but think of their softball program. I mean, they are in Oklahoma City just about every year. They're a nationally prominent softball program and has built their program on playing the California schools. So all of a sudden in February and early March, the UCLA softball team's got to go play a 3-game series in East Lansing, Michigan. And that's just the weather elements and everything involved, or to go to State College, Pennsylvania, and all of those things, to take them out of their natural habitat and to put them where they are. It just doesn't make sense. And I don't see that. I know the money will help, but in the long run, I'm not sure if that really helps their program, and we don't look at the overall picture and all of the sports. And, we're always been a little bit hypocritical in college athletics, but, here we are going to celebrate Title IX 50 years, and everybody puts out on Twitter, oh, happy anniversary Title IX, and all those kind of things. And we speak, every AD tweets it out. And then, we make these decisions that run contrary to women's athletics, and so I'm not real happy about the direction it's going. I worry about the NCAA basketball tournament when you have some commissioners talking about, well, maybe we don't need at-large bids or as many at-large bids. And to me, that's, I should say, automatic qualifiers, not at-large, the AQs. And if they start taking the AQs away, then I think the basketball tournament really loses its flavor, and so to me as a sports fan, that would be tragic, because to me, that's one of the top sporting events in the world. And I love the NCAA basketball tournament. And so we need to do everything we can to preserve the culture and the feel and the excitement of those first 48 hours of the basketball tournament are some of the best in sports. So that's what I worry about. I hope that in our chase and our zest, and I get some of it, some of them just, they have to do it to keep up with the Joneses. But I hope we don't really hurt ourselves in the long run by doing some of this stuff.
George, one quick thing with that, and I'll throw it back to you and let you have him another time. But I also worry, Chris, I was a football coach and an AD. I came up through football. When all this money is coming through football, I worry about these ADs being pushed by a lot of people to put way too much money in football and not pass this money these Power Fives are going to start making around to the other sports. And that could be a disaster too. Have you thought in that way, or am I off my rocker with that?
Well, I think it can happen. If I think the Big Ten and the SEC are probably okay, that there's enough TV money to spread around. In some ways, they have to be a little bit creative in spending it all. So I don't worry about those, but I worry about some of the more mid-range Power Fives that may have to cut sports. If you're a Kansas State, and how do you keep up with a Texas or somebody like that? And then maybe you cut back on your sport offerings, or you don't put as much money into those sport offerings. So that's a way that you can catch up to the football piece of it. So I think in the long run, that's going to really hurt. I think that the NCAA kind of sees that, and they've tried to work with the Olympic governing bodies on some of the sports, and maybe there's some funding there and those kind of things, because as those sports get cut, it is going to hurt the Olympics. And so there's always a trickle-down effect.
Is there a morale issue that this creates where you have a coach walk in one day and say, what's the point? We have no chance.
No, I don't think so, George. I think that, maybe Watson would be better qualified to answer that question. The coaches I've been around they want to win the next Saturday, and they want to win the conference and those kind of things, and then take it from there and play on that national stage. I think that what you see is a little bit of, I think the morale on coaches is quite honestly the work that's involved now. You mentioned the NIL, and they're having to recruit every day now. And we've had campus visitors all summer long. There's been no downtime for our coaching staff. And so that'll add up. I worry about that. I worry about the coaches' mental well-beings, because with the transfer portal and everything going on in the NIL, and coaches trying to raise the money for their collectives and all those kind of things is associated with the NIL, that there's no downtime. I mean, and so their very busy schedule just got dumped on even more so. And I think we're going to lose some coaches to that. We've seen it with Bronco Mendenhall and, at Virginia. And I think you'll see more taking the escape hatch, maybe to the NFL and other places where it might be a little forgiving, this work-life balance.
Let's go this scenario, because I know it's going on. There's a kid in your basketball program. I'm not naming any names, but this kid has sort of a breakout sophomore year. And this kid, it's obvious, can play at a higher level, but Middle was the one who took the shot at him.
Right.
More power to Middle. Well, now all of a sudden, the way the thing's set up, this kid's got 15 schools in his ear, in his dorm room, saying, you don't need to play at that level. You can come play at our level, be on TV more. How in the world do you compete with that?
Yeah, and I don't know if you can. I mean, what we try to do and we emphasize to our coaches is just, the culture. And our coaches, George, I mean, that we hire people that are interested in the total student body, this total student athlete, and worry about their grades, want to make sure they graduate and all those kind of things. And as these relationships get more transactional, I think eventually that'll get more important, and so I think we're positioned pretty well for it. We're going to lose people like that, as you described, but we've got a chance to gain some too. Being in the middle of the food chain and the NIL, I think we're okay. I try to tell our coaches, we can't just gnash our teeth over the ones that we might lose, but let's come out each year and out of the portal and be a net positive. And that's got to be our goal. So if we lose that star, well, maybe we can get two guys that can fill that out of the portal or whatever. So that's going to happen. We just need to prepare ourselves for it.
After the break, we'll talk with MTSU Athletic Director Chris Massaro about football and about scheduling, because in his area of the world, he has been one of the best schedulers you can find anywhere. We'll explain that when we come back. This is Main Street Media Television.
At WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit wellskinmd.com to schedule your appointment today. WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee.
We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports cards, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards.
We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
Have you heard about the high levels of rape? It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Duret Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties, plus mitigation services. Visit DuretRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DuretRadonMitigation.com.
I think journalism is like politics. It's all local. And I think Main Street Media has really hit on something that I've been preaching for 50 years, and keep the news local, right? Local stories for local readers. And that's what I like about Main Street Media. I finally found somebody who agrees with me philosophically about concentrate on local subjects, local topics, and you'll bring your readers in.
We are back as we welcome all of you in. Chris Massaro is MTSU's athletic director, and he is with us in studio. Over the years in football, you have gotten, and I tried to think through all these, BYU, Mississippi State, Maryland, Minnesota, Virginia. You have gotten some big boys to come play you more than any school in the country on your level. How have you pulled that off?
Well, we've been very fortunate, George. I mean, we all know because we're all local here, but being in the area that we're in, people want to come. You know, we're not at the end of the road and those kind of things. So that was selling Nashville, selling the area. It's a good trip for your fans, those kind of things. And then being real strategic about it, like, who may not want to pay the big guarantees and be more willing to do a home and home kind of event. And so that's what we did. And we had a lot of success on it. Just this year, we were supposed to open with Missouri, and we'd done a home and home with them. And they informed us in about October or November that they did not want to come to Murfreesboro, and we're not coming to Murfreesboro. So we scrambled around and tried to talk them into it, and they wanted to buy the game and have it go to Missouri. And I'm like, just the principle of it, I really didn't want to do that. And so we just agreed not to play this year. They paid the separation agreement. And so we scheduled at James Madison. So they were kind of the other SEC school I was going to be really excited about to be able to come on your show and say, man, we got Missouri. And to be fair, it's harder and harder to get these schools. So what we talked about in the first segment is the bigger their TV contracts get, the less willing that they are going to be to go away from home, that they just want to sit there and buy their opponents. And some of the networks are going to expand from eight conference games to nine conference games so they can get more on the Big Ten network or the Pac-12 network, whatever it might be. So we'll deal with that as well. So they're harder to get now than they were 10 years ago, but we still want to try fishing a little bit.
Okay, let's bring Watson back in here, because Watson, you've played the athletic director role as well. Did you have much success in that area of getting the big guy to come play you?
To be honest, not as much as Chris has. In my early years there at UAB, we were really just starting, and we had to go 2-for-1s, and Chris knows that's a killer. I think we did that with Kansas. We did that with Virginia Tech. My latter years, we did get Baylor and Mississippi State to come in home and home. But it's hard, and Chris has nailed it. Chris, my question to you is, when I was at UAB and we had that deal put on us that we had to knock the budget down $1 million a year to save football, and that was the budget down, not football budget, but the athletic department budget down $1 million a year. The two ways I could do it: go raise money, and you know as well as I do, raising money for a budget is the hardest thing in the world to do. They don't even want to listen to you with that one. And the second thing was go play people on the road for the Bucks. Is that still a part of scheduling? Do you have to make sure you bring in so much money through the schedule, Chris? Is it as much as it used to be? I see you're traveling to Miami is the only one that I saw that might bring you some pretty good bucks. Where is that in today's world and in your schedule? And the second piece of that real quick, are you going to have to go more now toward the group of fives for home and homes? Because you nailed it. The power fives are not going to come near as much as when they start getting these kind of bucks.
It's still, yeah, that still exists, Watson, that you need that payday, and those kind of things. And, to go play Miami for whatever, $1.5 million, I mean, that's a lot easier than, as you said, trying to raise it $1,000 at a time or $5,000 at a time. So that still exists. Most of us play one of those games. What I'm trying to get our schedule to be now is one game where we get bought, and then use that money to buy a FCS game, and then play 2 home and homes. And I'd like some of those home and homes to be stretch home and homes. They might be group of 5, but well-known group of 5s. We'd love to start playing Memphis again. We'd love to play, the military schools and some of those that have really great brand recognition. So that those are good areas. And then the one thing that this conference realignment's done is you've got a lot of former partners out there that you know pretty well, and they know your stadium and those kind of things. So ex-conference mates make good out of conference. We just signed and announced a couple months ago a couple game series with Marshall, which in CUSA, that was always one of our best games and draws well, and it's local. You can bus to it and those kind of things. So those are the kind of games that I like. I mean, and I think we're going to really try to play more of those kind of games.
That would make sense, George. One last thing, I'll give it back to you again. The other thing, Chris, that is hard is getting those home games. And I saw I guess you've got 5 this year. Are you trying to stay on a 5-7-6-6 when you do that 1-bye and then home and home? Is that what that would turn out, or is it going to end up being 6-6 every year?
I would love to get to 6-6 every year. you know, where you have that split. We had it this year till Missouri backed out on us, you know, and that hurts you. I think next year we might have 6. We still have to return our game to Missouri. So our first 2 games next year, which is the last time in our future schedules where we play 2 Power 5 teams, is we've got Missouri and Alabama. So Coach Stock might want to get suspended for the first 2 games or something, so he doesn't have to maybe go to those places. So
been there, done that.
we do have those too, you know, and that's where you get caught a little bit when you're trying to schedule the home and homes. You know, where if you play 1 Power 5 at home, in 1 year, that means you got to go to that place the next year. And if you still need a bye game, that means you're going to have 2 Power 5s on the road, and that can really hurt your football program. So that's the last year we're going to do that. I think we're going to try to keep a lot of it with, like I said, with Group of 5s and ex-conference mates. I mean, seeing you on the screen, I mean, that UAB is a great game. You know, we've had conversations with them. I mean, they're 3 hours down the road, and now that we're in different conferences, we had some great games. And so let's keep playing. So those are good. That's one of the offshoots of conference realignment, is it's kind of helped some of the non-conference scheduling with some of that, and also in basketball as well.
Okay, Honk, if you've heard these questions before, because you have. Number 1, is Memphis willing to play you?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
We're in talks. Yeah, we're in talks. So I think that we'll get something done. But yeah, that they've been willing to do a home and home.
So what's question number 2?
My guess would be Vanderbilt.
Johnny, what does he win?
I haven't had a ton of talks with Vanderbilt. We had some, and Candace is great, and she's a good friend of mine, their AD. This is our 50th anniversary of the Murphy Center, and we opened it on December 11th, 1972 against the Commodores. And so a year ago, it was like, hey, this is a great idea. Let's bring back Vandy for a basketball game, you know, and sell the history piece. We'll play 2 at their place and 1 at ours, kind of that 2-for-1 that Watson was talking about. And they seemed interested. They really did. And we had some good conversations. And then I think we messed up a little bit because Nick won 26 games and they weren't quite as interested, you know, and so I'm just not sure where all that falls. You know, that I would love to play Vanderbilt. I think local games are really important.
Oh, I think it's good for the community.
Yeah.
And it's easy for me to say sitting in this chair, because I'm not the one, if the Vandy group loses and all of a sudden everybody's all over their coaches. But still, when you see the excitement, the night Jay Cutler drove them down the length of the field, and you block the field goal attempt at the buzzer and win.
Jeremiah Weaver.
I mean, that place, that was as loud as I had heard that stadium in a long time.
Those are great memories. And, you know, they came down to our place and won a fourth quarter type game about 4 or 5 years ago. And so we did, we played a 5-game series with them. Yep. So they've been good. They've been good partners to us. And so we would like that to continue. That if you notice, we play our first home game this year is against Tennessee State. And I love that game. And we're talking to them about more. I'd be willing to play at Nissan Stadium and play, you know, be the visiting team there as well. I think it's important, you know, and if I want to play local, then I have to walk the walk. And the Tennessee State game's great for us. It's great for them. And I'm so excited for September 17th. And I hope everybody's comes out for that. It'll be a great game.
For being our guest today, you get your helmet back. Hold on to that.
I want to see.
That
I
looks
want to.
good. That looks really good.
We got a blue one with the blue face mask and stuff. I kind of
good
thought,
looking helmet.
Since if things get rough, I thought maybe you could put it on.
Things do get rough. Thanks. Do you want to stick around and participate in Stat of the Day?
Sure.
Because it's been embarrassing for us.
Oh.
I'll explain more when we come back. You're watching Main Street Media Television.
I've done sports. I've been a photographer. I've been an editor. I've been a producer. I've been a reporter. I've been an anchor. I mean, I've done every job you could possibly imagine this. And so sports was a way to have fun and be different. But then I realized community is where it's at, and community and local and doing places and going, seeing people. And, sports, you go to a stadium, everybody celebrates and they go their different ways. But community-wise, there's so much going on.
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
Tell us about One Stop Realty.
So, as I've said before, George, One Stop Realty is the hometown brokerage for all your real estate needs. We've been around since 1974. I took ownership of the company in 2019. We've added agents. We have expanded into building up our property management. The growth with our agents is fantastic. We added 3 new agents in the past couple months. Angela Hyatt, Nathan Skelly, and Crystal Locke have all joined us, and they're going to be fantastic agents. They're ready to help you in all your residential, your commercial, property management, and auction needs. We are a family business, and we want to help your family find your next property in Middle Tennessee. Okay. Office number is 615-822-0750. My cell phone, 615-440-7011. Or the website, onestoprealtytn.com. And you can also find us on Facebook. I encourage everybody to go out and like and follow our page, just as the same we did with George Plaster.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee.
We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports card, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards.
We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
At Sumner Funeral and Cremation, our mission is to serve families as our own, celebrate the life of their loved one, and help begin the healing process.
My whole family, including my wife and my mom and siblings, were very happy with the treatment that we received. I would highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation.
We offer funeral, burial, cremations, and pre-planning services.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
St. Louis Cardinals shortstop Paul DeYoung, who, for what it's worth, has killed the Braves in the past, and in particular in that 2019 National League Divisional Series playoff. Anyway, he got sent down, had a tough struggle to start the year, and now is back in AAA, and we talked to him about that earlier today. Paul, I learned when I was a AAA minor league baseball announcer that one of the toughest situations is when a veteran who has had success on the major league level ends up having to come down. And so I feel like I know a little bit about this kind of thing. How hard has this been for you?
Yeah, it's been a shock for me, but it's not something I want to keep reveling in, or keep putting myself in this struggle type situation. It's baseball, and I know a lot of things can go right and a lot of things can go wrong. So at this point, I'm just trying to take things day by day. I'm enjoying this team. I'm enjoying competing. Thankful I'm back out on the field after missing 10 days or so with a kind of a sprained wrist after I got hit by a pitch. So it's just one of those things where I'd like to be in the big leagues, and I've had plenty of time there, and that's where I think I belong. But that's not where I'm at right now. So I got to be where I'm at and try to be the best me I can be today here in Nashville.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is there this tendency at the beginning of this process to just start wheeling through your mind, what am I doing wrong? What's happened that used to not happen? Blah, blah, blah. Is that part of the whole process?
Yeah, definitely. When I first got to Memphis in May, I was like, well, what am I doing wrong? What's going on? What do I have to do? A lot of that analysis kind of happened. And then, from there, I started to, kind of build on my confidence and started to figure out a few things that I may have been doing wrong. And ever since then, it's just been playing baseball every day. It's just like the daily, okay, I got to compete today. I got to get my body ready. A lot of the things are really similar to the big leagues as far as kind of like your process of the day to day. So, yeah, I mean, it's been a learning process. I've had some ups and downs while I've been here. And so I'm trying to just trend at the right time when the big league team needs me back. And, I just want to go back up there and help our big league team win.
Have you sought others who maybe have had this kind of experience to, try to figure out, okay, how did they get past this? Because you're certainly not the first one that's ever dealt with this.
Yeah. There's a player that played for our organization. He now works in our kind of player development side. Ryan Ludwig played a long time in the big leagues. And he told me about when he got sent down and spent a whole year in AAA, and then, had some really good seasons after all that. And so he's just trying to stay on me, like, keep going, stay hungry. Like, a lot of like the motivation stuff that you can sometimes lose sight of. And that when somebody reminds you of it, it really clicks in your mind. But I also, it's nice to have somebody like that reach out and talk to you about things. But then it's also nice to know for myself what it is that I'm doing and what it is that makes me good, and then kind of building on that every single day. And so it's like I'm pulling myself out of this hole in order to have sustained success as I move forward.
As you use the term pull out of this hole, how much is just simple love of the game eventually taking over, whether it's here or Busch Stadium or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, that was one of my kind of, I guess, loose goals that I had when I got here, was that I was going to enjoy the time with the guys, the camaraderie, like just talking in the cage while you're hitting or while you're stretching, like in the clubhouse, like, how guys are. I mean, to me, that stuff really brings us together. And I think for me, especially when being so analytical at times and kind of like trying to figure out the answers and what's going on. I think that kind of rapport with each other really loosens me up, and I think that's what it's all about. So that's kind of been one of my biggest focuses down here, is just to enjoy the time with these guys and compete in a kind of a natural, organic way, as opposed to trying to be a robot up there and try to, this is my swing, this is how I need to replicate it, this is what's going on, and then you just get lost in all these analytical details versus just being present and having that kind of open state of mind, that flow state is really what I'm going for.
Paul, on the big league level, you have played with three guys that I think are going to end up in Cooperstown. There's no doubt in my mind Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina are first ballot. I'm starting to think as Adam Wainwright finds this second whatever that he has found, that he's going to end up in Cooperstown. So I'm going to ask you about each one of them. Talk to me about Albert and the opening day reception he got at Busch Stadium.
Yeah, I remember when he came to St. Louis in 2019 with the Angels, and he hit a home run against us, and I never heard such a loud applause after he hit that ball. He hit into the bullpen, and I just felt like he scored for us, really. It was pretty funny. But Albert's got such a great presence. I mean, since day one in spring training when he showed up, like he was a leader, outspoken. He helped all these different types of guys, like in the cage. He's just like almost like another coach, but a player. Asking him about a pitcher or about an approach or a situation. I mean, he does it all. I was very thankful to have the time that I have had with him, just because of, just his career has been so legendary. I mean, he's such a special part of this organization and the game. So he's like living history. Truly an honor to even talk to him. So I'm thankful for that.
Let's go to Yadier Molina, who I just think is the cat daddy catching wise. Man, I'm a huge fan of his.
Yeah, Yadi's incredible. I've spent a lot of time on the field with him. I'm thankful for all that as well. The way he sees the game, the way he competes, the way he fights for his teammates. I mean, there's countless stories of him. You could talk all day about what he can bring to the table for a team. It kind of hurts not having him right now. I know he's caught a lot of games in his career, and his legs and his body starting to break down. It's just one of those things, but mentally, I think he still has it. And I think mentally he can get himself physically right to still play. So I'm never going to count Yadi out. I know, he's got that kind of, like you said, the cat daddy. He is like a cat back there. He's like an assassin, really a predator. The way he throws guys out, the way he picks guys off, the way he gives signs, the way he sets up. I mean, everything is so calculated and precise. And it's great to be able to watch him play and to kind of see what he can do in action. And then let's not forget about his clutch hitting. I mean, I can't remember how many walk-offs he's had since I've been around with him. And it's almost like he's always coming up with a big hit for us. So he basically does everything you want in a veteran catcher. It's pretty awesome to be a part of.
What did Wainwright find a year and a half ago? Because I'll admit I had about written him off, and it seems like he's gone to some pitching fountain of youth.
Mm-hmm. I mean, his command is incredible. His understanding of the game is incredible, and I think that's kind of where the pendulum might be swinging back a little bit away from the analytics towards this. Okay, this guy can really pitch. He knows what he's doing out there, and that's how he can throw a 90-mile-an-hour two-seam that looks like 100. I've faced Wainwright in lives, and you think about the curveball, you think about the cutter slider thing he's got, and then you miss the fastball, or he'll throw right down the middle, and he's got 6'7" frame coming at you. You don't even see it, and he's slinging it. And so really, I think he just uses his stuff so effectively. And I think his precision and the way he can locate pitches, I mean, that's why he's still good. He also has just that understanding, and he's a competitor. You can watch him out there. He's intense. Like, Wainwright's a pretty easygoing, kind of funny guy. likes to watch, TV and Netflix on his iPad, and like he just seems like a kid at times, but then when you see him on the field, he's like an animal. He's a go-getter. He's a predator. I mean, it's pretty awesome to see that switch being flipped.
Yeah. I want your opinion on this because it's going to come up a bunch over the next year. You've played baseball this year without a pitch clock, and now you're playing with a pitch clock. Mm-hmm. Give me some thoughts, and has your opinion of it changed because of dealing with it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've been victim a couple times to the pitch clock, and I've also gained from it once. So I guess I'm down one overall. Although one of them I didn't realize the rule. It was my first series with the pitch clock, and I didn't step out and walk around. I just kind of stepped out and was just taking too much time to step back in and got called out. And then another time I yelled time and he didn't hear me, and he called me out. I was frustrated. I swung at a 0-1 slider in the dirt, so it was now 0-2. After I swung, I kind of was facing away from the umpire and yelled time. I guess he didn't hear me. He called me out. And then another time I got a walk off a guy who didn't pitch the ball quick enough. So I think with nobody on, the clock is a little quick. 5 seconds, I think I find myself a little rushed, and I find the pitcher is rushed too. But with guys on, it's kind of more in a sweet spot. With that 10 seconds, I think is a lot more time. So I'd like to see for every pitch, maybe that 10-second. I think that would be a comfortable range for the big leagues. But really, I'm more interested in that automatic strike zone. I think we had one experience with it in Charlotte, and we put up a ton of runs. I don't know if it was because of their pitching staff or because of the zone or both, but I really enjoyed hitting with that zone because a ball was a ball and a strike was a strike, and taking it out of the umpire's hands. I know umpires have been a part of this game, calling balls and strikes since the 1800s, but with this modern age and with how good pitching is stuff-wise, I think that with that precision would really help out hitters. And if that's where the game wants to go with more offense, I'm not saying it has to be, but it would definitely help to have that zone to help our offense.
Good interview with Paul DeYoung. He's well-spoken and enjoyed getting the chance to meet up with him. Billy. Jody Jones Dentist. When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
Serving Williamson and surrounding counties, Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee offers comprehensive orthopedic care with 16 subspecialized physicians. Our practice provides high-tech care with a hometown touch. We offer physician clinics, physical and occupational therapy, advanced imaging, and surgical services, including interventional procedures. Call us at 615-791-2630. We're Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee. High-tech care with a hometown touch.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and
I've done sports. I've been a photographer. I've been an editor. I've been a producer. I've been a reporter. I've been an anchor. I mean, I've done every job you could possibly imagine this. And so sports was a way to have fun and be different. But then I realized community is where it's at, and community and local and doing places and going, seeing people. And, sports, you go to a stadium, everybody celebrates and they go their different ways. But community-wise, there's so much going on.
At Sumner Funeral and Cremation, our mission is to serve families as our own, celebrate the life of their loved one, and help begin the healing process.
My whole family, including my wife and my mom and siblings, were very happy with the treatment that we received. I would highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation.
We offer funeral, burial, cremations, and pre-planning services.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Looky there, as we welcome all of you back. Brian Stewart joins us to talk a little realty. How are you?
I'm doing great, George. How's things going with you today?
Good. I enjoyed watching Ohtani get knocked around a little Friday night. How about that?
The seventh inning, the Braves just opened it up on them. Unfortunately, with the loss yesterday didn't help us much, but hopefully we take care of business in Philly tonight and get back to a half game back, maybe, hopefully.
Speaking of taking care of business, tell me where you want to go with this today.
Well, y'all were just talking about it, and George, I know you were good friends with Mark. I didn't know Mark personally, but I'm like Billy. I was not in the 7th and 8th grade listening to Mark, but I was listening to him in the mornings with Frank and everybody, and it was Mark was a special guy, and he is truly going to be missed in the sports talk and it just talk radio and just him as a person. Everybody's going to miss him. Truly a blow for Nashville, and I want to pass my condolences on to his family and all his friends, and just let them know, praying for him.
Amen.
So what I wanted to talk about today, if we have a minute here, is I wanted to tell you about these community events that we have coming up. Tomorrow, Sumner Realtors, along with One Stop Realty, is going to be holding a blood drive for the community. We have 26 participants that are going to be showing up tomorrow between 10 and 3. There should be some walk-in slots. So if anybody is in the Hendersonville area tomorrow and they want to give blood, please come by. I will be there helping to register. It's going to be a great event. This is something we do every year, trying to give back to the community. We also have the Haunted Hustle 5K benefit and Habitat for Humanity, Sumner County. That'll be coming up, and that's October 29th. And that is an exciting race. It's family friendly. The live registration is already up. So just look for Haunted Hustle 5K in Sumner County, and you'll be able to come out there and join us and give back to Habitat.
Beautiful.
George, we got to get you in that.
Probably not. Probably not. Brian, how do they reach you?
615-822-0750 is the office. 615-440-7011 is my cell. We're on the internet at OneStopRealtyTN.com. And we're also on Facebook and Instagram. Please give us a like and follow. We will not disappoint you with our real estate knowledge.
And I will echo that. Brian, thank you. And thank you for the nice words on Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Y'all have a great day, George. Thank you.
You too.
Hey, thanks for watching. I'm going to get myself well, and we'll have some more great shows in the very near future. Thanks for participating.